dangerous mutations. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, as a kid growing up, I saw liberals as kind of the peace, love, and understanding types. So, kind of the perfect harmonies captured in that old Coca-Cola commercial.
I like to teach the world to sing. Sing with me. Perfect harmony, perfect harmony. I like to fly the world and keep it company.
You see what you missed if you didn't grow up then? These great commercials. Well, they were kind of non-threatening hippies who waxed poetic about things like world peace, tolerance, and free speech for everyone, even those with the most reprehensible views. So say what you want about the flower power crowd, but they understood that the First Amendment applied to all, not a select few. And back then, liberal Democrats considered debate a good thing. They'd regularly duke it out in a robust exchange of ideas.
Mr. Vidal, your description of the naked eye hardly fits that of somebody who is moderately well informed.
I'm so happy to see your elegant prose style at its very best tonight, Bill. It's very inspiring to those of us listening to it.
But over time, that live and let live spirit gave way to a dark, twisted variant. It turned out that dominating in politics wasn't quite as easy as dominating in the universities for the left. So convincing voters that your policies are going to improve lives requires more than just messaging skill. It requires sound policies. So now as Biden's agenda fails at home and abroad, we see more infectious and dangerous mutations spreading through their ranks. Now, among the most virulent is their new opposition to free speech. Now, this variant is a royally bad one. In fact, just today, Prince Harry joined the left-wing Aspen Institute in calling on Big Tech to hold super spreaders of mis- and disinformation to account with policies that enable quicker, more decisive actions and penalties commensurate with their impacts. Good for you, Harry. Well, of course, he's fine with super spreading his noxious ideas around the globe, no problem. Now, this dangerous mutation is also metastasizing in the Biden administration, where we just learned from whistleblower documents that Biden's FBI is now tracking so-called threats against radical educrats who push lockdowns and the CRT insanity. And when I say threats, well, of course we mean uncomfortable questions or just plain old criticisms from concerned parents. We're going to dive more into this later on in the hour. Anyway, so much for those question authority bumper stickers. Remember that? That used to be all the rage among liberals. Now the left celebrates authoritarian tactics as long as they're used against their political opponents. Now, another mutation is what the left calls anti-racism, but it's just really plain old racism. We were all taught to abhor that growing up. Well, it's different now. And unlike COVID, this strain is particularly damaging to school kids, which is exactly where the left is spreading it.
It's very important that we talk about these intersectionalities, and it's very important that we are aware of how our children posit what is most important about their identities. As professionals, it is on you to understand the district's racial equity policy, and it's on you to understand your school's racial equity plan and how these things can be carried out in your classroom.
I promise that is not a video of the Onion website. That actually is real. Now, when parents point out just how sickening and repulsive this toxic curriculum is to the kids, the left just turns around and smears them as vile bigots. As Business Insider notes today, Democrats plan to swing back aggressively at Republicans on critical race theory claims. One Democratic strategist said, it's not just that Republicans want a bigger role for parents in education, it's that Republicans are willing to let white supremacists write curricula. Yeah, that's what's happening. Now, thankfully, voters in Virginia and other states have been kind of inoculated against these ludicrous claims at this point. But then there's a third mutation we need to address tonight. It's the evolution of the left from pro-privacy rights zealots to anti-privacy rights fanatics. Now, unless you're dabbling in porn or having multiple abortions,